Good morning, everyone. It's midterm season at Cal Poly, so I thought I'd bring some of that joy here to you all this morning with a little quiz. Just think about it in your mind, a little reflection. One, do you know a slow historic figure? Two, do you know a historic Black figure of slow? And three, can you name a single historic Black-owned business or other sort of entity? Even if some of you can, most people in Flow can't answer these questions, which is why I'm so glad to present my research today. The purpose of my project was threefold. The first, the post-Spanish colonial history of San Luis Obispo is completely understudied. Sitting halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco, there is a rich cultural history waiting to be unearthed. The second is that the history of the Black community of Flow is basically unstudied. There is no academic paper trail on the subject. And the third is the methodology of oral history. Of course, the people that know the most about this community are the elderly Black people that experienced it and their children and grandchildren. So that is why oral history is such a significant part of this project, being able to speak to the agents of history themselves and hear their experiences from them removes an unnecessary and often burdensome layer of interpretation. My research begins with World War II, with actually the research of Eric Brune, who's here today. Prior to the 1940s and World War II, there were less than 100 Black people across the entire county. When war broke out, the first all-Black unit activated in the war was brought here to San Luis Obispo from North Carolina. The 54th Coast Artillery Regiment was tasked with defending the Pacific Coast from Los Angeles to San Francisco, with a major presence in Santa Cruz and here at Camp San Luis Obispo. In 1940, there were only 4 Black people in the entire city. By 1950, it had grown 36 times over to nearly 150. There is a whole network of stories and experiences that should be remembered so we can best understand how our city developed into what it is today and to try to glean any lessons to learn from the past. For my research thus far, a community leader seemed to be Annabelle Warren, the owner and operator of the Sisters Inn and later the Club Morocco. The granddaughter of Annabelle Warren, Ida Campbell Thomas, who I spoke to for nearly 8 hours over 3 interview sessions, described it as the hub of Black culture in San Luis Obispo and the Central Coast. She said that in Slow during the 50s and 60s, to find a truly safe place to let your guard down, you really had to go all the way down south to LA or north to the Bay Area. The Club Morocco, being halfway between these two, meant it attracted many important Black artists and cultural figures, as well as thousands of customers across the region. Warren's Club, much like a lot of the other Black-owned businesses, which were in the formerly occupied by the historic Japanese neighborhood, rented from the family of the corrupt Slow County Sheriff Murray Hathaway. But Ida Campbell described her grandmother and Hathaway having a different relationship than most of the other tenants because of the success of her club. She was a power player. If other Black businesses had an issue, they could turn to Warren. Ida Campbell told me a story of one of her friends getting harassed by Slow PD for being out late and getting arrested. Warren made a call, and the young man was able to come home and stay the night at Warren's home. Ida Campbell also told me a story of one of her grandmother's friends not being sold flowers for a wedding she was planning in town in the 50s. It took Annabelle Warren less than a day to source 20 table arrangements for her friend due to her seeming just to know everyone. What I'm asking all of you today is to look into the history of your lands. Is there any record of it being owned or leased by the Hathaways, especially if your business is around South and Higuera in Japantown? I'll be continuing this research for my senior project, trying to compile a history of the Black community, a cultural history of the Black community of Slow through the small businesses that were owned and operated by the community members. We live in quite tumultuous times, to say the least. New levels of income inequality, conflict around the world, and chaos in the Congress. None of these phenomena are in isolation. Being able to trace the antecedents of contemporary events is crucial to understanding and properly digesting the world around us. So I close with a simple request. The next book you decide to read, podcast you listen to, make it be about one about history. If you need a recommendation, just ask. Thank you.